Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Connected. وإن قال لا إن كلمت أبا عمرو وأبا يوسف فأنت طالق ثلاثا ثم طلقها واحدة فبانت وانقضت عدتها فكلمت أبا عمرو ثم تزوجها فكلمت أبا يوسف فهي طالق ثلاثا مع الواحدة الأولى فقال الزهري رحمه الله لا يقع. Anyway, said if you speak to Abu Amr and Abu Yusuf, so in other words, two people you need to speak to, right? Then you are divorced thrice. Then he divorced her once. She became bind from him and iddat elapsed. Then she spoke to Abu Umar, the first person there, right? Then he married again. Then she spoke to Abu Yusuf, the second person. Then she is divorced thrice with the first one. It is total three plus one, actually four, so it comes total three. فقال الزفر رحمه الله لا يقع. Imam Zufar rahmatullahi says it will not occur. These three divorces will not occur. وهذه على وجوه. This masla is on few types. إما أن إن وجد الشرطان في الملك. Either both the sharts are found in the ownership. In other words, when she spoke to Abu Amr and Abu Yusuf, they both were, she was in his nikah. You understand it? فيقع الطلاق وهذا ظاهر. Then the talaq will occur, and this is clear, quite clear. أو وجدا في غير الملك فلا يقع. Or both the sharts were found out of ownership, then the talaq will not occur. That's also clear. In other words, when she spoke to Abu Amr and Abu Yusuf, she was not in his nikah. أو وجد الأول في الملك والثاني في غير الملك فلا يقع أيضا. But the first one was found in the ownership, right? She was married to him. And the second one was found out of ownership. In other words, when by the time she spoke to Abu Yusuf, she was not in his nikah, right? Then also it will not occur. لأن الجزاء لا ينزل في غير الملك فلا يقع. Because the jaza cannot fall out of ownership, so it cannot occur. You got that now? Right. Because by the time she spoke to Abu Yusuf, which is the last person there, right? Or the second, that's the time she was not in his ownership. أو وجد الأول في غير الملك والثاني في الملك. Or the first one was found out of ownership.
So I understood also, because isn't she was buying talaq, and then she spoke to Abu Amr. I'm saying this in this way. This is how I understood this.
Yeah, so she's out of his ownership. She spoke to Abu Amr then.
She was out of his ownership.
Now this is the fourth one. Now this is the one, right? The first one was found out of ownership, and the second one in ownership. This is وهي مسألة الكتاب الخلافية, and this is the masala, the ikhtilafi masala of the kitab, right? Between us and Imam Zufar. You understand it? له اعتبار الأول بالثاني إذ هما في حكم الطلاق كشيء واحد. Imam Zufar may say he takes consideration of the first with the second, because they are both in the ruling of talaq like one thing. In other words, he say just as when you spoke, when the by the time she spoke to Abu Yusuf, she was not in his nikah, right? We all agree, he says, there we all agree that no talaq. So likewise, when she spoke to Abu Amr and she was not in his nikah, then also there should be no, the talaq should not fall, the jaza shouldn't fall. You understand it? Because he says, what he says, itibarul awwali bisani, making qiyas of the first on the second one. You understand it? Because they both in the ruling of talaq is like one thing, right? وَلَنَا أَنَّ صِحَّةَ الْكَلَامِ بِأَهْلِيَةِ الْمُتَكَلِّمِ. Our dalil first now is that the correctness of the speech is with the mutakallim being ahl of speaking. You know, it's not mad. The man is not mad. He's sane, and what he's saying, it's got some meaning to it, right? He's speaking sense. Inna illa anna al-milka yashtaritu halat at-ta'liqi liyasir al-jaza'u ghalib al-wujud li istishab al-hali, right? Except that ownership has been made a condition in the situation of the suspension, so that the jaza can become most probably existent due to istishab al-hal. What does this mean now? In other words, if you take an oath now, or you make a ta'liq, right? You say, in the khalti dara. You tell her, you man tells his wife, in the khaldi dar wa talikum. So she needs to be your ownership at that time. Why? She needs to be your own. That's the time of ta'liq, right? She needs to be in your ownership so that the jaza will most probably happen. In other words, there's a great chance now she can enter the house. She's in your ownership, and there's a great chance that she'll enter the house. Why will she'll enter the house? Habil hal. In other words, habil mahal. What it means is that as it was, that's how it is. As it was, that's how it is. In other words, she will most probably enter the house while she was in your ownership when you did the ta'liq. And most probably when the shart take place, she'll still be in your ownership. They say this is habil. You also use it when a person you don't know about him, right? So how was he? Was he a good person, bad person? What's it? So they say somebody comes and say, look, 5 years ago he was a good person. I remember. After that, nobody knows anything. So we'll say he's still a good person because the last evidence we got 5 years ago he was good. So we will say that that condition still continued. You understand? So same thing here now. You need the jaza to most probably happen, and that will most probably happen when she's in your ownership, right? And it will most probably be that by the time she enters the house, she'll still be in your ownership. So the same thing here, habil hal. For yasih wal yamin. So the oath has been correct now, right? Well, in the tamami shart, and you also need ownership when at the time of the shart being completed, right? لينزل الجزاء, so that the jaza can fall. لأنه لا ينزل إلا في الملك, because it doesn't fall except when there's ownership. Imagine if she enters the house, you understand? Or in this case, when she speaks now to the people, but at that time there's no ownership, then no talaq will fall. You understand it? So you need the milk at the time the ownership is the shart is completed. وفيما بين ذلك الحال حال بقاء اليمين, and in that which is between that, the situation is the situation of the continuation of the oath. So the period in between the time you said these words till the time the shart is done for the jaza to fall, right? That period in between is what is called baqa'ul yamin. فَيَسْتَغْنِي عَنْ قِيَامِ الْمِلْكِ. So that period there is independent from the existence of ownership. So now you don't need ownership to continue right through. Like now in this case, the ownership went, then it came back. You understand it? Right. It's baqa'uhu bimahalli, because the continuation of the ownership of the oath will be with the mahal of the oath, and that is in the responsibility. In other words, that oath will still continue. How it will continue? On your head. It's sitting on your head. You understand it? It will still be sitting on your head. Although the ownership is gone now, but that responsibility and that oath is still continuing because it's on your shoulders. Leave it alone. Yeah, so which means you need ownership at the beginning and you need it when the shart falls. You understand it? That's the main thing. And when does the shart fall? When he spoke to the second person. That's the time the shart is falling. If he spoke to only one of the two, then the shart is only halfway. The shart is completed when he spoke to the second one.